questions from viewers about all the small things within the environment and how it all is integrated with one another. If you want to ask me any questions, please simply register with the Wild Earth website, head across to the Live Safari page, and then post your questions there. I'm looking forward to chatting to you on my next Wild Earth drive.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the dawn. Welcome to the Sunrise Safari, coming to you live here from Juba Private Game Reserve, where we are watching the sunrise. Isn't that splendid? Now, obviously, the sunrise is a marvelous experience. But on that, and it got Hello, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to the Dawn. Welcome, guys. What a beautiful day. What a start. We spent a moment. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the sunrise. We do apologize for any technical issues that you might have experienced there. Hopefully, that is behind us. And well, let's start that again, shall we? Good morning and welcome to the dawn. My name is Steve, joined this morning by Darren on camera, and as always, excited to have you with us. Now, if you have any questions and comments, please send them to using the hashtag WildEarth or throw them in on the YouTube chat stream. If you under the age of 18, please get some emails sent through to kids' questions at wildearth.tv. Alternatively, you can go to the website and submit your questions there. Now, it is a beautiful morning, a beautiful dawn, and well, I'm going to start with a bit of a silent moment. plans for the morning is to just do some tracking. We can find out about, and well, let's go see what the weather looks like across all properties.
A very good morning with a beautiful, beautiful sunrise here from and beyond Pinda. We are just coming out and looking over this beautiful, beautiful vista that here is here next to us. My name is Dewald, and behind the camera we've got Johan, and we came out to see if we can find some animals this morning around this area. And how beautiful is it here behind us. So we've got this beautiful sunrise this morning because yesterday, I don't know if any of you remember, there was quite a bit of wind that was blowing, and it's blowing all this mist and quite a bit of dust and stuff from the ocean, the Indian Ocean, which is there in the east. But let's just sit and listen for a moment. It is so beautiful out here. See the rolling hills of Pinda then in the foreground, and far in the distance we can't even see it. There's even some coastal sand dunes that are covered in coastal forest, but the mist is just a little bit too thick for us to see it. How beautiful is the glow of the sun in the mist there. Freddie, you're saying it's a stunning sunrise. It seems to just get better and better the more the sun gets its power as it goes up into the sky. It actually started out almost looking like a moonrise earlier. That's how thick the mist was close to the horizon. And while we're sitting here, we're listening to see if we could hear any signs of any animals that might be around the area. What a perfect start to the morning. Got a few birds calling in the background, some yellow-throated longclaws calling. There's a slight breeze blowing this morning, but after yesterday's very windy day, it was relatively quiet game viewing wise because of the wind. The animals kind of hide away to try and get out of it, and today it seems like the wind's died on quite a bit. That's why we've caught all this mist and dust in there. So I'm hoping that some of the animals need to catch up on feeding and moving around a little bit more than what they did yesterday. And hopefully they'll be out and about for us to find them. And we are on a little ridge here, and we are going to be heading east, so into the direction of the sun there. Might be hearing the radio there in the background. Some of the rangers. Sorry, you interrupted myself there. Safari Kitty, you saying this reminds you of like a 70s poster you had. I don't think it's that much 70s. I think I've got a poster like that in my room too. You might be hearing the radio just in the background there. And it's just some of the rangers going mobile from Mountain Lodge in the south of the reserve that are calling out to go and look for some lion and leopard this morning. Hopefully they'll also be successful and we'll get a chance to go look at those animals if they are. Even though we are pretty much in the winter now, it's actually a pleasant temperature this morning on Punda. Read it up probably around 20 degrees already, and it's set to become like 27 or so. But here in northern KwaZulu-Natal, it doesn't really get much colder. I guess it does get very chilly in the mornings in the winter, but not as cold as it does up at Ngala and the Kruger National Park areas. The Lowveld. It's actually quite beautiful here close to us. There is a few grasses that have the light coming through them now. I don't know if you can see the light just shining through the grass inflorescences. And these are actually, funny enough, called Natal red top. They've got a little bit of red coloration. Quite beautiful with the sun coming through the top of the grasses. But for now, I think Joanna and I are going to keep going and see if we can go look for some animals. I'm going to send you over to Trishala, where she's going to say good morning.
geared up for you. It's me, Trisha. I've got Darby on camera, and I've got some fingerless gloves thanks to Dream. Very cute. And
Welcome back to Pinda, and sorry about that. We are in the bush, so there were some technical issues on the Juma side. We've got someone that's just come to say hello to us, coming down the road straight towards us, it seems. Looks like a warthog. Whoa, it looks like it's a big boar. You can see those massive growths or piece of callus or hard skin on the sides of his face. Tells us it's a male. The females have a little bit of smaller ones. He's got impressive tusks. Pretty impressive teeth. And look at just below the big tooth there, he's got like a small sharp one as well. He's just gone off. It disappears in the long grass so quickly. Must be quite something being a warthog when the grass is so long this time of the year. Not being able to see around you. Here he comes. Stand by, Mark. Actually coming closer, but probably not too sure about us. Sarah, you're asking if warthogs are solitary. Generally, they are not solitary, but the big boars like this are quite often solitary. So, what I say generally not is young males and females and youngsters always are in groups, just because it is a little bit more likely of them to survive the more they are. Actually coming straight towards this beautiful scene that we had next to us here the whole morning. Walking in front of those beautiful grasses we were talking about earlier. See those tiny teeth, the sharp teeth underneath the big teeth there that's sticking out on the bottom jaw. So those teeth that come out of his mouth like that, every time he opens and closes his mouth, they are sharpening up against each other. That's what he'll use for protection and to fight with other males. It's got like a kink in his tail as well, it seems. It seems like he's going to disappear into the long grass there now. And just like that, he's gone. Oh, still there. Just see his back sticking out. Corsi, you asking what the difference is between a bush pig and a warthog. Bush pigs are generally a little bit high in stature, and they are almost exclusively nocturnal, where warthogs are diurnal. They'll be moving around during the day like this male is now, and bush pigs don't have the long teeth that warthogs have, so they still have like small teeth that stick out on the sides of their mouths, which makes them also quite dangerous, but they don't have the long tusks, and generally longer fur all over their body. Yeah. Well, the warthogs disappeared. Just look at how beautiful it is here. Seems like the sun's stuck in that little spot where it is. Hasn't really gone higher, or at least doesn't feel like it. It's actually such beautiful light for photography because it's being diffused by the mist that we've got here. But now that our warthog has moved off and the sun is getting a little bit higher, I think Joanna and I are going to keep going and see what else we can find.
Welcome back, everybody. Look who we have found.
Which side are from?
We were looking for him yesterday. Found his tracks just a moment ago. Found the of Juma, which makes one very excited. Makes me very excited. Look at him. He's looking in fantastic condition. Oh, fan, I'm just east of you now.
Sorry, but my audio.
Fan, just come east from there.
Okay, copy.
Isn't he gorgeous? Now, I know many of you love Tingana. I love Tingana. Now, please, I would like from all of you a one-word tweet about how does it feel to see Tingana. Last 5 times I saw him, he was pretty flat cat, sitting down, not doing too much. Now he's out and about. His tummy's looking quite hungry. He was walking straight back up towards quarantine. We were discussing it last night about the movement of these cats, how they walk up onto the open areas looking for food, but always sort of keeping the thicket to one side. Okay, there he goes behind the bush. And we're going to follow as he heads slowly south. And who knows where he's going to lead us.
We have received our second batch of name plaques, which is super exciting, and Marcel is busy mounting them as we speak. For those of you that don't know, we are offering the opportunity for Wild Earth explorers to get their names engraved on a plaque like this. Once your name is on the plaque, it will then be attached onto the vehicle. Marcel, what are you up to?
I'm busy mounting plaques on Trusty Rusty.
This means that even though you're at home watching this, it'll still feel as though you're on the vehicle with us as we bumble about the bush. This means that VNA, Prajash, Melanie Greenwood, Linda J. Poley, and Stephen Humbert will be riding along with us as we bumble through the bush, even though you're watching it from home. Now that the name plaques are on the back of the vehicle, it's time for us to head out and go and see what we can find.
Across southern and East Africa, the Endangered Wildlife Trust works tirelessly to save species, protect critical habitats, and benefit people. Join the EWT in returning wildlife to the wild. Go to ewt.org.za to find out more and follow our socials to see how you can get involved. Protecting forever, together.
My name is Ross and I'm a field guide at and beyond Pinde Private Game Reserve. I love getting questions from guests on Wild Earth because I love sharing and learning information about nature with new people, and it also makes me feel like you're all joining me in real life. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit your question below our live feed.
Guys, just watch what's happening. See, watch the elephants, watch the lions. See, the first ones to run are the cubs. Can you see them? They are right here. I'm not sure how scared you were, but I was quite nervous. But absolutely incredible.
Expect the unexpected here on Wild Earth daily.
Hello everyone. Sorry about that. I got interrupted during my introduction. I have a lovely kingfisher there. Actually looks like a bit of a giant kingfisher. But we'll have a good look in a moment. First you can see my face again. Hi everyone. It's me, Trishala. I've got Davy on camera. And now we're at Twin Dams. So we were actually heading towards Twin Dams when you first got a glimpse of me, but not exactly. Here's the other side of the dam. Lots of gorgeous bird life out here this morning. There it is. Really good. Oh no, it is. It is our pied kingfisher. Gorgeous pied kingfisher for the morning. Hi, Lisa. You say, what a great start to the morning for me. Yes, indeed. You know how I love pied kingfishers, especially when they give us that hover. Really lovely. This side of Twin Dams is a really good site for birding. So obviously Twin Dams is called Twin Dams because there's two dams and two dam walls. The big one that we're used to seeing, and the smaller one where we have all the weaver's nests and other little birds. And this morning I've seen the pied kingfisher here. There's also been a black crake as well as a little grebe. All making very good use of this side of the dam. But because of all the vegetation that's actually growing in the water in the side of the dam, it allows lots of little hiding spots for ducklings. Remember we saw white-faced whistling ducklings here. We've seen Egyptian geese ducklings here, goslings here. Lots of good hiding spots, lots of shelter. And also it's shallow. Oh, I see the black crake has just come out on the side there. Oh, and it keeps running in and out. Just there. These guys are monogamous, so you'll usually see them in pairs, and that's what we're looking at. Or well, what we were looking at. You'll see them darting in and out. They move quite quickly. There it comes. So cool. They'd be looking for all kinds of little things that they'd find in the water, little fish, crustaceans, little worms, other invertebrates. But they'll also eat plants and seeds that they'll find along the edges of this little dam. They have these really big feet that allow them to move easily across the vegetation and water. It almost looks like they're walking on the water. But those big feet increase the surface area and allow them to not sink very quickly. So if they move quickly enough across the vegetation, they won't sink. It's a spectacular thing to watch. Especially, you can see that we have the water lilies that are in this area too. And they'll walk across those lily pads, which is very, very cool. Those lilies still need to wake up. It's not warm enough just yet, but the sun is starting to touch them. In fact, while we're sitting here, we might actually see some movement of those lilies opening up. If you sit here for long enough, you'll actually be able to see them. You don't actually see them move because they move very slowly, but you'll realize when you look once and then you look away and you look again, there is a change. And that's really interesting. That motion that they can engage in is the result of changing the water pressure within their cells. Oh, kingfisher's down. Ooh, a bit of breakfast. Oh no, show us what you've got there. Gosh, it's hard for me to tell what that is. It looks like some sort of winged creature. Oh no, I can't tell what that is. It's big. It's got to do that. Try to break, apart from trying to kill it before it swallows it down, it'll also break little bones if it's a fish, or break the exoskeleton if it's some sort of invertebrate, and that allows it for it to be swallowed down a little bit more easily. Mandy, it certainly is. Mandy says that's so interesting how they can balance on such thin branches. It is, but that's the benefit of not just being a kingfisher, but of being a bird. Birds have hollow bones, so they're very light, and that's necessary for flight. The lighter you are, the easier it is for you to fly. A pied kingfisher is under 100 grams. Oh, almost lost breakfast there. And Mandy, it's that stability for me that is just amazing. Maybe it's a huge dragonfly, although it looks meatier than that. I'm just trying to figure out what it is. What do you guys think it is? It looks quite mangled right now, so it's hard to tell. I think I'm going to grab the name and that comment again. I think it was Konupska. You said, what impressive jaw power. At least that's what I think you said. Ah, I got it all right. Hey. It is impressive, but it's actually not the power of the jaw that's impressive there. It's the power of the head, the strength in that head to move about like that. We've got another kingfisher on site here. It looks like a lovely brown hooded. So what I was saying there is that it's the neck, because remember that birds don't really have jaws in the sense that mammals do, because their jaw bones have been fused and adapted to create this beak. It's a fusion of many of the bones that we would have used to create our jaw. They've used these parts of their body to create the beak. So it's the head, kind of like a dog. When a dog bites, and it uses its head to rip. It's the same with many birds, is that they use the beak to grasp, and then they use their heads to swing that, whatever they've caught, around. They also use those heads for stability. If we get a bit of a breeze, you'll see with this brown-hooded kingfisher that it won't move its head, because head is its most stable, but it'll keep it very, very, very still. And in order to keep something stable, just like imagine when you're in a car, you're using your core body strength to keep you stabilized and upright that whole time, even though it feels like you're not engaging it. That's how you end up with a strong core that allows you to walk and things like that. Your core is involved in your most basic functions. It's the same with that head. That head is the stable bit of the bird that it's always keeping very tight, very strong. Oh, I heard another duck down into the water, but it's just out of sight. Rob, absolutely. Nature is amazing. It's just, the more I learn about it, the more I learn about the nitty-gritty and find out explanations for crazy things. It doesn't make it simpler. It doesn't make me think, oh, now I know it. It just leaves me in more amazement. That's why I love science. I learn things and I get even more amazed. It's not like I get satisfied after knowing something. Let's see if we reverse a little bit, if we'll be able to get our kingfisher friend. Just a tad, because I can see him darting into the water. See where that movement is, but I can't actually see the kingfisher. Let's move back a little bit. Okay. All right, let's wait here. Oh, it's a little bit chilly this morning. Chillier than I expected. So hopefully it'll pop down there. I actually didn't pay attention. If it was a double breastband, it was a male. If it was single, it was a female. I was just so focused on watching it eat and catch its breakfast, I forgot to look at the breastband. I love how busy this little section is. And it's really important to note that. I know it's beautiful and there's so much happening that we can sort of think, or we look at things very individually here. Oh, look at these birds, look at the monitor, etc. But look for a second at how shallow the water is and how much is going on there compared to the big dams that are deep and there's not a terrible amount going on. This is how life began, in shallow pools like this, shallow pools where the water could be warmed by the sun, where there was lots of movement, where there was lots of little growth, where there were lots of chemicals dissolved into these shallow pools from the atmosphere. It's in pools like this that life began. Oh, Davy, our crake is just at the end. They walk so fast, these things. Come on, crake. No. Well, they have to walk quickly. Otherwise, they'll sink. Yeah, there we go. See how this dense vegetation around a little pool is so helpful to creatures like these. It means that they can protect themselves from any kind of aerial predators. And you'll always find more bird life on this side than on the larger dam side. Oh, that's beautiful. Looks like it's had a lot of coffee this morning. Aren't those colors stunning? Like this pastel-y yellow beak and those pinky red legs. These guys are also not very heavy at all, and again, that makes sense. They're also about 100 grams. Kingfisher is a little bit under that. It's probably about 80 grams. But again, both these species living quite different lives, but in the similar areas, and making use of those adaptations, making use of the fact that their bones are light, they're hollow, so one can almost walk across the water and the other one can fly and hover with such ease. Beautiful. What a nice, stunning way to start the morning. All right, well, let me send you over to Dewald. He's got some jackals for you this morning.
Okay, so we came onto the airstrip close to where we saw that side-striped jackal last night, and look at what we found. We actually found the male and female together and actually busy feeding on what is the remnants of that warthog that we saw, the one pulling out of the thickets yesterday. But look at their bellies. They are nice and round and fat. So they've been just having an absolute feast last night. You can see where the name side-striped jackal comes from. There's a stripe along the edge of along the side of the jackal. And look at the white tip of the tail, also something to look out for to be able to identify them. It looks like the one in the back there is a little bit on the one in the front. Oh, they just picked up like a part of the carcass that's left. Those bellies are so full. My goodness, that is so cool to see them in the morning. Oh, that one's belly is a little bit full, wants to lie down and rest a bit. It is relatively chilly and you can see the bit of breeze blowing here over this clearing here, close to the airstrip there in the back. So wildebeest actually coming towards them. Let's see what happens. It's a big wildebeest bull. Got a bit of a illusion happening at the moment because the wildebeest is standing just a little bit higher up than them. These jackals look very, very small compared to him. You can see some Egyptian geese in the background as well. Pretty cool to have all three of them in one shot. Mary, you're saying it's a brilliant sighting. It is indeed, especially if you were looking yesterday or last night and we saw the one actually pulling that carcass out of the grass, long grass, and obviously the mate came and joined it as well. So the one that's feeding there, it's probably the one that came and joined later on, still has a little bit of space and trying to fill its belly a little bit. But you might find that these jackals, if there's no other predators that do come to this carcass, they'll feed as much as they can, go and rest like the one there on the right, and maybe go and feed every now and then when the food has settled a little bit. See how this one feeding is very aware still. Feeding a little bit, feeding. And let's see if it picks it head up and just looks around every now and then. Excuse me. So this is most probably a breeding pair. And they are mostly monogamous side-striped jackal. They might stay, this breeding pair might stay monogamous and with each other for several years. And I must be honest, I've over the last 4 or 5 years been seeing this pair of jackal around this airstrip here, so they've been together for quite a while. Look at the one chewing there. And we are just about to get into the breeding season for these jackal. So from like June to November. So we'll have to come back to this spot here now that we know this pair is still here in the next couple of months, and maybe we'll be lucky and see some pups. You never ever know. Peg is saying it looks like an appetizing breakfast. Well, some warthog early in the morning doesn't sound too bad, does it? See the one there lying down is just grooming a little bit and scratching away. probably going to start to settle down, that one that's lying down there, for the day, as the sun comes up a little bit and warms them up. So this open clearing here is a good place for them to actually have a burrow and some pups, because they can see all around them. So I wonder if they are starting to hang around here again now that we are going into the winter. Maybe they're starting to check if the area is good for them to maybe breed this year. Using its port, whatever that is, to see if it can maybe get some piece of meat off. Probably not much left after these two fill their bellies. It's like the legs or something. It's got there, or it's like quite a big piece of bone with long strands coming off of it. And when the one that's lying down was standing up earlier, it was a little bit bigger than the one that's feeding there. I wonder if that's maybe the male that's lying down and the female just off the left. Both of them just heard something in the distance. There's some impalas that's coming out onto the airstrip a bit to the left. So I think they were just picking their heads up to make sure what it is. Egyptian geese also feeding on some grass and insects there in the distance. And further to the left there, there's those impalas we were talking about. But while these jackal are feeding and they seem to be settling down a little bit, I think we're going to leave them and see if we can head towards the hyena den and see if it's active.
We all have a busy schedule and a lifestyle which is confined to stress and tensions. For so many of us, the hustle and bustle of a tedious life has meant we have lost our inner peace. Traveling is an ultimate remedy that lets us unwind and helps us experience peace in the lap of nature. Wild Earth encourages the benefits of travel by giving away an amazing prize every month.
I was totally overwhelmed to receive this fantastic prize of 3 nights at Chitwa Chitwa. Wild Earth has been a lifesaver for us during the pandemic and has kept us sane. Thank you so very much, Wild Earth.
Sign up to be an explorer today, and it could be you jetting off on an all-expenses-paid-for safari experience. Wild Earth Explorers. It's in your nature.
Our bodies are made up of about 60% water, which means that in a very short space of time, you can dehydrate completely. A relatively efficient way of collecting water early in the morning is to take an absorbent material like a sock and to walk through the grass, absorbing the condensed dewdrops on the grass. Once the material is saturated, you can then squeeze it out into a container, or you can suck it out directly into your mouth.
I love being a cam op for Wild Earth. The animals coming right up close to you, especially like lions. Sometimes you get nervous, but you have to go with the flow. My favorite animal to film is the elephant because of how big it is. But when it's really up close to you, it's one animal that you would say, I really respect you.
We have a baby pangolin, a baby pangolin. This is off the charts. This animal is about from your fingertips to your elbow. That's the total length of this animal. This is unreal. This is unreal. This is unreal. This is like now my 4th Christmas in a week. We should do this more often.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature.
The female jackal has stopped feeding now, and she's just moved off to the right there. I can hear the impala's actually alarm calling to them a little bit as well. Probably just seeing the movement and smelling the carcass maybe. The other one's up. And going to the remains to see if it can feed a little bit as well. Egyptian geese coming onto the airstrip there. I wonder if that jackal's belly wasn't so full, if it would actually look to go for this Egyptian geese a little bit. But doesn't look like they've got any interest in them. Actually quite rare to see these side-striped jackals feeding on this carcass here, because I don't know if you've ever heard of how they actually more omnivorous than anything else. They really actually don't feed on too much meat. More often vegetation like berries and stuff like that. And every now and then if they get a chance, like we see here, they'll maybe go for something like meat if they get the chance. The one's actually sitting down. Some impala's alarm calling to these side-striped jackals. I think they can smell the carcass as well. But I think we are gonna keep going and see if we can leave these jackal here. We'll send you over to Pridelands that wants to say good morning.
And it certainly is a good morning. Slightly chilly, and when I say slightly, I mean extremely cold. As you can see, there's a couple of vervet monkeys on Ndlovu Dam Wall that are enjoying the gentle sun, warming up just like us. Although, unfortunately, I've chosen a poor spot to stand. I'm kind of in the shade of a beautiful leadwood tree, but the sun is rising now. We're a little bit late this morning. Hi, everyone. My name is Mike. Behind the camera is Glenn, and this is Eco-Training's Pridelands Conservancy. And as I said, we're a little bit late this morning because we tried our best to get to the hyena den to see if they would be active and about, but I think it's a bit too cold for them. I think they were deep down in their own little bedroom, underground in that termite mound in that den site. So we've come all the way back to Ndlovu Dam, where, as you can see, those monkeys are being very playful. It's really lovely to see them first thing in the morning. These vervet monkeys were roosting in the weeping boer bean that's right above our kitchen, basically. here at the eco-training camp, and last night they had lots of arguments with each other. They were having a real big family dispute. But all seems forgiven. I can't see any of them now. Can you still see them?
I've got 2 of them there.
Oh, there's still 2. Okay, cool. They're still on the dam wall. Seems like they've forgiven each other for whatever happened last night. All is well, all is friendly. And from here, after they've warmed up sufficiently, they'll probably head down onto the other side of the dam wall where the vegetation is much greener from the seeping water from the dam. And they'll probably find some insects, any shoots, fresh leaves that might be springing in the sun. It is winter, but there's still some strange stuff going on. The knob thorns, as we've shown you the last couple of days, flowering. All the knob thorns that have been ring-barked, all flowering, which is so odd. So the monkey's probably also enjoying those blossoms. I often think bird monkeys must just have such a nice, fairly easy life. I mean, they're very alert animals, very intelligent, very fast and agile. There's not much that catches them, except for, I guess, snakes and leopards and eagles and owls and African wildcats. Yeah, actually, a lot of things eat them, to be honest. Maybe it's not so nice to be a bird monkey, but at this point in time, it looks very wonderful. And when the bird monkeys move, we will take their spot up on the dam wall. We don't want to chase them off just yet. Once they've started to move and warmed up enough, we will take their spot and sit up on the dam wall for a little bit to see if anything comes down as it gets warmer. It's supposed to be a very hot day today. There's a cold front moving in. From tomorrow, it's going to be very, very windy and much colder. So that warm air being pushed in front of the cold front will settle here for today. And it'll be very hot and humid. Probably reaching the low 30 degrees centigrade. That's, what is that, about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. It's pretty warm. A few starlings making a bit of noise. Oh, there goes the heron. Just flown off. I don't know if you were trying to frame the one up there as soon as it looked that way. Daniel, it's like, I was just thinking that now, saying, you know, the monkeys live such an easy life, but Daniel, although they are intelligent and agile and omnivorous, so their life can be fairly simple, Pridelands has a lot of predators that will eat bird monkeys. So a variety of different snakes, probably the most likely is African rock python, many eagles, many small predators like African wildcats, and large predators like leopards will definitely catch them, especially young leopards, like the youngsters from Pixie Pan Female, who incidentally, just for a bit of extra information, we saw yesterday on our way back from our walk. As we drove back, we picked up our tracking partner Morris, and he, as we drove down the road, he pointed out 3 leopards. So that was pretty amazing. So those leopards, those young leopards, will definitely catch feathered monkeys. It'll be a point of great excitement. Oh, and there's what did you see? A grey go-away bird that's busy
Down on the bank.
coming down to the water's edge. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, beautiful with the crest lit up like that. And those, just like the vivid monkeys, are our warning system in the bush. They will make a beautiful, very distinctive go-away call to warn if they see snakes or other predators. That's where the name comes from. Go away. Go away. And there's some francolin coming down just behind them as well. Well, that's a beautiful view, actually. The crested francolin coming in behind. That particular crested francolin that's coming in just behind those grey go-away birds has become quite a nuisance in camp. It has taken to jumping directly onto the tables to steal food from from Glenn, actually, a couple of days ago. So,
I had to share my breakfast.
yeah. Well, we like sharing. Sharing is caring. I suppose they're good to have a bit of a clean-up crew around the camp. Oh, There goes the go-away bird. Crested Franklin still just walking around. Franklin are making their slow way into the camp. They'll be here just in time for breakfast. Right, well, whilst these three Franklin head towards us and the camp, I think we're going to send you over to Pinda.
I have found some elephants. Dreams do come true here. I was really hoping to see some. This one's quite close to us, which is lovely. So let's just enjoy this little girl. Looks like a young female. It's short trunks herd, and the little ones in it seem to be a little bit sleepy still. How specific they are about picking grasses at this time of the year when things are starting to dry. There's just a little bit of greenery left, so they're so specific, using those finger-like protrusions to pick exactly what they want, those nice green lush bits. Obviously some dry bits get in there too, but they're bulk feeders, so they don't mind too much. The preference is always for juicy and green though. The general direction is out this way, so maybe they'll come a little bit or closer, as in to go past us. We've been here for a while, so probably quite used to us. Hello, you. Your head is the size of your little one. Look how she's trying to push her out the way. Move it along, move it along. Hi, guys. I love when this happens. This is my favorite thing out in the bush. My favorite. It can be leopard sightings, lion sightings, it could be a chameleon sighting. But this is my favorite. I love all the others too, but elephant sightings, spending time with them being so comfortable around us, that is priceless. Every single time it amazes me how much it pays off to just sit with them for a little while before we start moving about and repositioning and things like that. They get used to our presence and the sound of us. And it ends up in some really beautiful sightings. It seems that this little one has an injury there by the tusk. We were just discussing it before you came to us and wondering what it could be. First I thought it was just a random injury, but maybe it is a type of herpes virus that young elephants get. The last time when Tristan and I were here together, about this herpes virus that young elephants get, but they only get it when they're very little. And as they grow, they've already built antibodies to them and they don't affect the elephant anymore. It's not like a human herpes virus where they continuously have, or it's always in your system. They outgrow it. The reason I think it's that is because it seems so perfectly round. But I can't imagine anything like a thorn or something like that, creating such a round injury. Because she's so nice and close, how about be quiet for a little bit and we can just listen to the sounds. But please do send through your questions still. I'd love to answer them using that hashtag WildEarth or the website. You can go up, use our questions and comments box, or add FC on the YouTube chat stream. Hi Heather, that's a great question. You'd like to know if the bottom of the elephant's foot is hard like hooves. It is hard, but not like hooves. Imagine calloused skin. So it's from being calloused, so it's not a hoof. Hooved animals are ungulates, and they're not ungulates. They're kind of something in between, so normally are not something in between ungulates and other animals, but their foot structure is something in between plantigrade and digitate. Because if you can see, they're still kind of on their toes, but not fully in the way that you see cats are. That's why you call them semi-digitate. And they've also got nails. And it's also quite crackly under the feet, but that creates grooves so that they can walk better, much like our wrinkles under our feet. All right, let me send you a stick around here for as long as I...
Well, everybody. What a start the morning. We have followed Tingana and we found him. All you can see now is the tail of a leopard, believe it or not. And he managed to make a kill. Now, those sensitive viewers who don't like to see dead animals, now is your opportunity to look away. He's managed to catch a, hard to tell, youngish duiker, which he has not started feeding on yet. Animal's dead quite long ago. The noise that was heard was of the duiker being strangled. There's a quick little blurting sound that attracted the hyena, which is what it's supposed to do, but the hyena wasn't able to find it. It's possible, though, that while he was strangling it, he was moving with it. Big male leopard could easily carry a duiker away. And now he's hiding in the bushes. Movement and activity for the day, I suppose, has probably come to an end. Next, he'll probably eat. Whether he'll stay right here and eat, it's hard to say. There's not really any suitable trees nearby, but it is a small kill. Big male leopard of his stature. Probably be able to defend it. So you often more commonly find male leopards feeding on the ground than females. Females feed on the ground to a degree, but they have to hoist or they lose their kill. I've seen many a male leopard feeding on the ground and standing off a couple of hyenas. Reputation preceding them. Well, the start to the day, from a wonderful sunrise to very fresh tracks which turned into alarm calls and immediately on the move. As Tingana is, he has been, or was, the dominant territorial male leopard in this area since before I started here. And in the last 6 months to a year, he seems to have been sort of hanging up his his territorial belt, if you would. You're not seeing him calling, he's keeping his movements quite small, localized, just sort of bouncing between areas, going into sort of almost what we'd call a nomadic lifestyle. I can't say that with certainty, to be honest, but the fact that he's not moving far and he's not calling and scent marking vigorously is a good indication. Doesn't mean he's not doing it under the cover of darkness, but he didn't move far. Where we tracked him to last night, we found his tracks not far away from that area. And if he had been on a patrol, which is what leopards do, he would have carried on in the northerly direction he was headed into Bufosuk. Yet he's turned around and come back to an area where he knows he can find some food. Charles, of course he will. They're very good at hoisting kills, but there's no adequate tree in the near vicinity. Everything is pretty scant where we are. But the only real threat he has, I'd say, is of a lion, or a whole clan of hyenas. We're only about 100 meters from the Djuma Den. Not far at all. But with the animal being dead, no noise is being made, he hasn't opened the stomach content. It'd be quite hard for the hyena to find him. And it's starting to warm up. The morning is upon us. And the chances of a lion just suddenly moving through. It's possible that because he made the noise, he's just sort of hanging by, listening for the approach of anything. Catching his breath. He did walk 500 to 600 meters at quite a fast movement. So he's catching his breath. It's not the Tingana of old. Still got it in him though. Leopard hunt duiker often. They are a very, very important part of their diet. They share a very similar habitat. You might have seen a wheel there. We do have other vehicles in the sighting. Quite funny, he's almost behaving like he's a cheetah. Gone on a cheetah hunt, a few 100 meter sprint, now he's catching his breath. He can do whatever he wants, everybody. He's Tingana. He's still the Duke. Many of you are nodding your heads, you Tingana fans. Yes, Steve, he can do whatever he wants, and I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Now, what's interesting with the duiker there, you can see that line just above its eye, which is actually supposed to be below its eye, but he's upside down. That is the preorbital gland that they use for scent marking. See that that slit going from the eye towards the nose, that little black line, the fly is just above it now. Many of these animals, small antelope, have got little glands on the face, on the head, between the hooves, wherever they might be, for territory. And duikers are very territorial. LT, I don't know. He's got a meal now. He should be set for today and tomorrow, but it depends. You know, these animals are very opportunistic. He might, something might walk past, he might hunt again. There's nothing stopping a leopard from hunting again and again and again. It's always just energy requirements, energy consumption that plays a part. But I've had many occasions where we've had leopards with more than one kill at a time, and they don't necessarily hunt because they're hungry. They hunt because instinct drives them to. Obviously, they're more likely to hunt when they're hungry, but if something just walks towards them, they can hunt it. So with the John T and the Tilamati Pride, night before last, where they were just sitting at the dam. They definitely weren't hungry, but an impala started moving. Here he comes. Hello, Tingana. Oh, has he got something else in the bush, I wonder? Nope. He's just been... Tingana, since when did you become camera shy? There we go. Can't see me, I'm hiding. Now, everybody, he's going to start opening up this carcass. So he starts with some plucking. So the animal's dead. It's very dead. But this is part and parcel of what happens in nature. Animals feed. They either feed on vegetation, or they feed on insects, or they feed on meat. Each has its role, and the role of this duiker right now is to sustain this male leopard. So leopards do have the time and the patience to pluck. They don't want to eat the fur because the fur is not digestible. They don't get any benefit out of it, so they'll pluck it. And it's interesting to see where he's plucking it. He's going for the shoulder. You'd normally expect them to go for the rump, but he's probably going to pluck a lot of it. I know that the duiker might be showing some signs of being alive there, but I can assure you it's very much dead. If it wasn't, it would have run away a long time ago. They do play dead from time to time. You can see his eyes gone all milky. They do play dead from time to time while they're being held. And then as soon as the animal relaxes its grip, they can run off, a term known as thanatosis, which works sometimes, but not all the time. We've got a 90-kilogram male leopard bearing down on you, teeth, jaws thrust into your throat, cuts off the wind very quickly, and that's why there was only a very small sound made by this duiker as it was being killed. And we sat for a while trying to listen. With a little bit of investigation, though, we were able to track him down. So Nicanova, isn't it so amazing to see him? And now getting him on camera again. I don't know when last he was on camera, but I had him a few times a month ago. He was looking in great condition. He had a bit of a cut on his shoulder. Can't remember his right or left shoulder. We'll see if we can find it. It was quite a bad laceration that was obviously created, no doubt, by a warthog tusk. But his walking before we were trying to keep up with him, and he was moving like he owned this property, and well, he certainly does. He might not be behaving territorially, everybody, but he's still a beast of a leopard, and don't ever let that don't ever question that. You might hear some cameras from the other vehicle. See how he's listening. You might move it now. There he is, if you would, sure. See, so he knows he's got all day to eat this. He's going to make very sure that there's nothing that's going to come and steal it from him. And so he's just going to have a listen. And if he needs to, he might move his kill.
We know how important it is for young people to have a connection to nature through our live safaris. They are the future protectors of the planet. Over the years, we have been joined on safari by schools from all over the world.
Seeing those students connecting with somebody lifetime in Africa, what else could you ask for? It's just an incredible experience for everyone.
Believe it or not, that is the dropping of a giraffe. Do you believe that?
Students, about probably 3,000 from New South Wales have just enjoyed this live streaming.
And we learned that some trees are male and female. That's pretty cool, right?
We were able to experience what it was like in South Africa and to see a whole lot of different creatures.
Take 27. I'm Carol from Chicago, USA.
This is me 5 years ago. No music, no editing, real time. I was hooked. Thank you so much for that, Wild Earth.
I had lost my job, and I also lost one of my pets. So Wild Earth has seen me through very hard times, and I just want to thank all of you for being there for me when I needed you most.
We love you. We start and end our day with you, teaching our grandkids all about nature through you, your wonderful educational safaris.
We really do appreciate being on safari with you, especially when it's cold and wintry in Canada.
And considering we've been in lockdown for 18 months here in Saudi and have not been able to fly back to South Africa, I want to thank you for bringing your safari back into my life every single day and night. I love it, love it, love it.
My name is Lauren and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
Back everybody while he's plucking and plucking and plucking away. Those front incisors in the leopard's mouth enable them to do that very well. And he's going to pluck. He's going all the way down into the rump now, which is where I thought he might start. Rump and intestine, or internal organs, is often where these big cats start. You can see he's getting it stuck in his mouth. I don't know if you've ever had a prickly pear before, everybody. It always pays to get rid of all the prickly pear outsides before trying to eat the flesh. So that's what he's doing. He's going to pluck it as much as he can. As with leopards, they have the time, the opportunity to do so. Lion, if it's a lioness on her own, she might do so. At a pride of lions, they don't have time. It's all about who can get the meat into the tummy faster. And so they just gorge. Gorge and gorge and gorge. Both will regurgitate fur balls, but a lion are more likely to have more fur and more bone due to the fact that there's no time to be picky and choosy. They just swallow. Whereas Tinky will be able to eat the best bits, pluck where he can, feed on the meat, eat all the internal organs, and then finally, after it's all done and dusted, crunch the softest of the bones. Julie, I think I might have just answered that. I mean, small cats, solitary cats, all pluck. They all pluck. Domestic cats will pluck. But lions don't have time to pluck, they just eat. Okay, looks like he's going to go find himself. Let's see where he's going to go to. He's looking down into the drainage. Going to see if we can see where he's going first. Do you have the benefit of another vehicle here? Keep us posted. Is he just going? Or is he just going into the bush there? Okay, we're going to go around. I'm going to come around that side. Hey? Oh, is he flat there? Okay. Okay, well, we're going to try reposition, Nelson, so not sure if we're going to get a good view. Some thorns. And a perfect little alley docking reverse there. Okay. Let's see if we can poke our nose into this little bush over here. Fellow wants to know how we ID a spot pattern. Well, we normally look at the spot patterns here above the lips. I'll see if I can show you just now. Oh, I can smell the tummy now. He's opened it just over the front of the bonnet there. Darren, can you see him? Now, it might be a little sensitive, everybody. I'm going to try and go a little bit. I don't think I'm going to get any better than that. There's no getting any better than that. It's as good as it gets. We'll hear other vehicles in the sighting. He's just moved to underneath a tree. Maybe he was feeling a little bit exposed behind that bush. See, he's got the blood on his face. Now, if I go any further forward, we'll just get the bonnet in the way. So, if you have a look at his face, if he looks at us again, we'll be able to see the spots that are just above the whiskers. We call that the whisker spot pattern. And normally it's a 2-3 or 3-2 or 1-1 or whatever it might be. The first one is always the right side, and the second number is always the left side. So you get... You might be able to show us. I don't have that mammal book of mine. It's got a really nice picture. Okay, well, we're going to stay here with Tingana. We are not going anywhere. I'm going to send you over to Pinda, who's having a moment at some water.
We've come down onto the floodplain here. We're just on the edge of some water that's here with beautiful water lilies growing all along the bank. We're just trying to see if we wait here for a moment, there might be some water birds coming along or so. Such beautiful water lilies. That one's got like a little bit of a purplish, bluish shine to it. There's so much water on Pinda at the moment from all the rains that we've had. So this river that we're standing next to, it's not really flowing too much anymore because it is seasonal and only really has water in it when there is a lot of rain. But this is the Munywana that the Conservancy is named after, that comes down all the way onto the floodplain here. We had some cattle egrets earlier, but I think they've flown off because there might be some animals close by. On this open grassland that we've got next to us with this water, obviously a perfect place for some grazing animals to hang around. And as far as I know, the pride of lions in this area hasn't been, that this territory belongs to, hasn't been here for quite a while, so it is a bit of a safe haven at the moment. See the grassland here on our left hand side. On top of that ridge that you see there in the distance, there is also a camp. That's our Inkwazi Ranger Training Camp, where all the and beyond guards are trained. All the and beyond guards in South Africa. Not a bad place to be trained and to go and spend some time. Always nostalgic for all of us to come back to this floodplain here. The landscape and habitats here on Pinda is amazing. And this floodplain grassland area is just one of the 7 habitats that we've got on Pinda. How incredible is that? Megan, you're saying these water lilies are so beautiful and pretty. They indeed are. And they play such a big role for a few different animals and birds to maybe move around on top of the water. Beautiful. These have like yellow insides. Earlier we had like a little bit of a purple one as well. 1 or 2 of them that are still closed and might open a little bit later on. I think we are going to keep on going, and then we'll send you over to Steve, where he's still with his leopard feeding.
Indeed, he's finally opened up the carcass, everybody, and moved a little bit away. We've managed to get a very nice view. The camera does anyway. The camera's got a very nice sort of angle, being the height that it is. He's now licking his lips with the blood. So if those of you who don't like this sort of thing, it's a good opportunity to look away, everybody. I'm very happy, as I'm sure all of you are, to see the tinganas with the meal. We've had to get a lot of blood and a lot of water from the blood, but it's also quite salty. So they could sustain themselves probably off of a lot of that blood, but they will drink whenever it is available. Predators' territories overlap watering holes, water sources. That's where their prey comes and goes. It's where they come and go, and they will drink whenever they possibly can. You'll see that they actually lap up the blood. He's licking it up. Lots of minerals, lots of iron in the blood. He won't waste much. He's gone in through the rump as anticipated. Sorry about my head. We're in a very tight little angle here to get this camera in view. Beautiful boy. Always have to spare a thought for the prey animal, but it has been a battle for age and age that the predators have been. Sorry, the car is right here. Charles, leopards don't share territories. Male and female might, but male has their own territory, and those are defended with boundaries. You can have young leopards moving through dominant male or female territories, and they don't behave territorially. And then when they get old and retire, they can also hang out in the territory, but what they're doing is they're moving between those boundaries. When they hear a male leopard calling, they move. When they hear a male leopard calling from the other side, they move again. They avoid confrontation. They don't behave territorially, they don't scent mark, and they don't call, and they get left alone. Scent marking is designed to indicate occupancy, and through scent marking, an animal also leaves a trail that can be followed if need be. So if a leopard decides to move into territory and wants to claim it and starts to scent mark, that trail will be left very, very clearly, and the dominant male in the area will go and investigate. Same goes for female. She's an estrus, scent marking. Very good advertising sort of ability for males to follow and find the female in estrus. The chemical signatures left behind are phenomenal. We can only really guess at what they say, but the leopards pick them up with their nose through the organ of Jacobson in the brain, and basically calculate or interpret many, many different elements of that communication. Okay, we're not going anywhere. We're going to see the elephants.
We found some more elephants, and they're quite close to Treehouse Dam this time. You can hear some big branches breaking. These elephants are taking it so easy, kind of like me this morning. I feel so relaxed spending this time with the elephants. We had a nice start looking at all those birds, and it was just such a relaxing day. I've given them quite a lot of space to pass us if they like to. So maybe we'll get a couple exciting experiences here with them. Oh, can you hear that characteristic snapping of the branches? You can hear the territorial drumming of a bearded woodpecker in the background. Did you hear that? This little one is flinging its trunk around. What do you smell in the air, little one? Oh, what beautiful sounds. They look like they would have had a drink at the dam. I think the herd that we were Short Trunk's herd that we had earlier on. Oh, it's a crested barbet calling close to us. Short Trunk's herd nearby. Actually, I'm finish the sentence and I'm gonna stop talking because the sounds are beautiful. I think this is part of a herd, and they're just a little bit further away, and because they're all moving the general direction back to where we saw those elephants last. Tree breaking going on there. And Nina, I agree with you. Nina says she can watch elephants all day long. I could too. It's so therapeutic. Consider this your meditation for the day. therapy, just to watch them as they move through the bush. We can turn around. I don't think there's anybody else left, and then we can have a good look at them again. I think everyone's past. There's one more behind us, but she's quite far away. I think we might actually have the best view through.
Do you dream of an African holiday in unparalleled luxury? Where your days are spent in the company of wildlife and cooling off in your very own plunge pool? Well, this month's prize may be the one for you. Expertly camouflaged into the unspoiled environment of the world-famed Sabi Sand Game Reserve, it's hard not to fall in love with Simbambili. Sign up to be a Wild Earth explorer before the end of May, and you and a friend could be jetting off to this ultimate escape from reality. A luxurious safari and spa getaway wrapped up in one impressive package. Wild Earth explorers, it's in your nature. For many years, Wild Earth has taken viewers from around the world to the Mara Triangle, a place of majestic beauty and abundant wildlife. But it wasn't always like this. Before 2001, it was infested with poachers. Illegal harvesting and hunting was rife. Now the situation couldn't be more different. The hard work and dedication of the Mara Conservancy has revolutionized this magical land. But now, the loss of revenue from tourism has created a grave crisis. The Mara Conservancy needs help if they are to continue protecting the reserve and supporting the local communities whose livelihood depend on its survival.
It's a huge privilege to be in these incredible places with these amazing animals. I love filming lions. When they do get up and do something, it's always spectacular. When they are playing, are incredibly fun to watch, especially subalterns and cubs. I love being in the bush and working in these incredible places with these amazing animals. We want to bring it to you so that you can almost feel like you're right there and be able to experience it and enjoy it the way we are.
Welcome back, everybody. We are still with Tingana. He's busy feeding. The other vehicle that's with us is on their way out. Might hear the vehicle moving. Look at those claws. I call them protractile. Some people refer to them as retractable claws, but they are protractile, which means as he flexes, they come out. As he relaxes, they go back in. So it's a way of grabbing onto animals, and you can see that those are the fingernails in the front, and then the thumb itself is the dew claw, which is further up on the wrist, which enables the animal to hold on and to pull down with incredible force onto whatever it is that they're pulling. Helps with climbing, helps with pulling down large animals, and applying pressure on the body so that they can hold on to it. A buffalo, for example, is trying to kick a lion off. Those protractile claws that are sinking in, and the harder the lion or leopard tenses, the more powerfully or deeply those claws penetrate. Look at that. Constantly growing. There you can see the thumb, the dew claw is on sort of the left of the hand at the moment, or the paw. He's now using the side of his teeth, a carnassial shear, which is those sharp cutting teeth on the side of all predators' mouths. It's where predators get their classification. All predators have got, if you put your finger in your mouth and feel where your molars are on the side, the premolars and molars, predators have got very sharp cutting teeth, which are called the carnassial shear, which are designed for cutting and tearing. Our teeth are designed for grinding. There we go. If you look just next to his nose on the right and the left, on the left you'll see those spots just behind the grass now, not the ones going up onto the nose, just below the grass at the moment. You'll see his spot pattern there on the right. You can see the spots going off just above the whiskers. There's that on the right. We've got the one and then the double with a little dot above it. And on the left as well, you've got the one and the double with a dot above. So those are very characteristic. Some leopards will look the same, will have the same spot patterns, but not normally do you find a male in the same area that's got the exact same spot pattern as another male. So that is often what people use for identifying. Sorry about our light being in the way here. Let me try and move that. Oh, it's very fastened. So that's to go back to that question we had before of spot patterns. But many of our viewers have actually got screenshots of the leopards' backsides, of their legs, of their tail, and they've managed to piece together many spot patterns. Some people go as far as to look at the ones above the eyes, little groupings, very specific groupings on the body. I've never gone to that sort of length. When I was guiding, we always used to just look at those spot patterns above the top lip, and that's kind of what we go for. Is it a male? Is it female? What spot pattern did you get? But with the aid of filming, the aid of everybody's ability to screenshot, we're able to actually often get identification for many of our cats on the move. When the leopard's walking away and all you can see is the bottom, we'll say, please, could someone help identify? And back we come with the ID, which is always really, really cool. It's really nice to know who's who in the wilderness. But Tingana, and after a while, everybody, I mean, I don't even look at spot patterns here on Djuma, not for some time. I either know the leopard or I don't. And Tingana is a very characteristic face. He's got a very, very recognizable face. So just like the first time you see a leopard, you go, look, it's a leopard. And as you go on in time, you start to differentiate between them. And leopard lover, I have no idea how far he goes east. I've never seen him go that far east. I'm sure he's been into the Kruger. He probably came from the Kruger because he was quite a skittish male when he first arrived onto this area, hence his name being Tingana, which means the shy one. Doesn't look very shy, does he? So I don't know. He basically bumbles between Buffelshoek and Simbambili. That's what we notice. And so we are in the Greater Kruger, but whether he goes as far east as the Kruger itself, I couldn't tell you. Okay, well, we're going to make some space. Aubrey is joining us now, and we've got the best view in the house. So let us just make some space for him. We're going to go do a little bumble around and then come back. Let me just let him know. Orbs, come take my spot. Oh, he's not listening. Orbs, come take my spot there. Good view. I'll make some space for you for a few minutes. Let's go just have a little look around the block. We had a really good view from there, everybody. Aubrey was with us before and he could see his bottom. Right there, I'll come back when you... Okay, let's go do a little bumble around the block. And time to take off the jacket. Buff is off already. Time to take off the jacket indeed. Hi everyone, well how awesome is that to see Tingi? Not just flat, but eating. Very excited. Anyway, we're going to take off some jackets and send you over to Trish to see if she's taken off a jacket or two herself.
Not yet, but soon. Just saw some dwarf mongoose. If dwarf mongoose are out, it's time to take off the jacket. Check them there, Darby. At least I think they're dwarf mongoose. Sometimes from afar, you can look at lots of things and think that there's something, but yes, it moved. Hello, you. They're actually at the den that was being used for a little while by the Djuma clan, the one that was used a number of times by the clan, the first one on the junction of Philemon's Cut Line and Taxon's Road. Many animals will use termite mounds together, coexist. They just use different parts and sometimes at different times of the day even. It was cool to see some banded mongoose yesterday. Although I wish I could have shown them to you. Where I'm from in KZN, we have banded mongoose all over the place. In gardens, on my way to work, there were banded mongoose. In car parks, kind of like the warthogs in Hoedspruit. Just all over the place. I think Steve's right. I think it's time to... Oh, that was a very harsh unzip. And it's stuck, of course. Of course, when I want to unzip it live, it's stuck. Looks like they've probably been up for a while now. I mean, the sun has been a little bit intense for the last, say, half an hour or so. So they would have used that time to bask on the side of the mound and collect all that warmth. And now they're going to go out foraging. You'll see them just bobbing up and down in the dry grass, which is very golden at the moment. I think in the time that I've been here, the grass has gotten even drier, even more golden. For me, it looks like the exact color of a lion. I see the drongos are now flying in, perched above the mongoose. I'm sure we'll find some hornbills around too, as well as some starlings. And then some squirrels will also pop through. All of them chill together. Actually, they're not chilling together, they're foraging together. Everyone is kind of working off each other. Hi, Mo. You'd like to know how big can they get? The average is about 250 grams, or they can get up to about 300 grams. I always liken them to a tub of cream cheese, and that's because there's always cream cheese in our fridge at camp. I always see that 250 gram on it, and I always think, oh, dwarf mongoose sized. But they can get up to 300 grams. I mean, it's likely more that they get a little bit larger, but the weights that we see in books are usually averages, and those that are outside of 300 grams are probably outliers, but it doesn't mean that they don't exist. I think they're quite a beautiful chocolate color. It's a really nice, deep, rich brown, you know. It's not a usual color in the bush, that dark brown. As predicted, the starlings have now come through. If you think about it, the sound that mongoose make in fact, the sound that all animals, let me put that down. The sound that all animals make as they walk through the bush is quite distinct. And we pick up so much information about that, about their movements and their sounds, and we're only out here for a few hours a day, a couple times a month. But the animals that live here, this is their home. So they'll be very attuned to that sound. I see a mongoose in the tree there. So that scurrying about on the ground level is quite a specific sound. Just like when you hear hyenas moving through the grass, it's quite a specific sound. Same for elephants. And the only animals that I won't hear as they move are leopards, most definitely. They're very difficult to hear as they move. And the same goes for lions. It's just that lions are not usually moving through the grass. You'll see them moving on the roads. And when they are moving through the grass, they're also very, very quiet. Moving about like that. Very cool. Hi KG, you'd like to know a little bit about their social structure. What is their social structure like? They have family groups, so there'll be an alpha male and an alpha female. They're the ones that will breed, although beta females and males will also breed. But they're family groups, so what ends up happening is you'll have an alpha female, alpha male, and they'll have offspring, and then they'll continue to have offspring. So those offspring that they have won't mate within the business or the group of mongoose, but the alpha and the alpha male and female will continue to reproduce. So what ends up happening is that you get many brothers and sisters within a group, and then once they disperse, they'll go to another group where they will be able to mate. So even in a group, a family group, you will get immigrant males and females that will be able to mate within the group. But it's always the alpha pair that does the majority of the producing of little ones. It was found that within some groups, alpha females will lead the group to kind of have a bit of a war with another group because they're highly territorial, just in order to mate with a different male. That may be an adaptation to introduce more genetic variety. I doubt it's just because she gets bored. But it's interesting to note that some groups will do that. It's been seen mostly in banded mongoose. They're very helpful to one another within their family groups. It's not just the mum that'll take care of the young. All of them will cooperate to take care of the young. I think this is probably the best time for mongoose foraging. Did you hear that? There was a drongo that just squeaked, and all the mongoose went scurrying away. That's a great reflection of their cooperation, and sometimes not cooperation. Sometimes they get used by drongos. They go out and find all the little creatures, those little insects that they forage for, and then a drongo can alarm call, say, hey, maybe something's coming through, be careful, it's an aerial predator. But in fact, they're lying. Make the mongoose drop whatever they've got, and then they can swoop down and take advantage of it. Why I say I think it's a good time of year for them is because the bush is not totally dry just yet because of the good wet season we've had, so there's still quite a few insects, but it's brown and dry, so they can flush them out very easily. So I hope that they'll get a good breakfast, them as well as the drongos and all the other partners that they have as they go about foraging.
We have received our second batch of name plaques, which is super exciting, and Marcel is busy mounting them as we speak. For those of you that don't know, we are offering the opportunity for Wild Earth explorers to get their names engraved on a plaque like this. Once your name is on the plaque, it will then be attached onto the vehicle. Marcel, what are you up to?
I'm busy mounting plaques on Trusty Rusty.
This means that even though you're at home watching this, it'll still feel as though you're on the vehicle with us as we bumble about the bush. This means that V&A, Prajash, Melanie Greenwood, Linda J. Poley and Stephen Humbert will be riding along with us as we bumble through the bush, even though you're watching it from home. Now that the name plaques are on the back of the vehicle, it's time for us to head out and go and see what we can find.
Founded in 1973, the Endangered Wildlife Trust has consistently and effectively worked towards achieving our conservation legacy. Contribute to this legacy by visiting EWT's Get Wild eShop and purchase products with a purpose.
My name is Steve, and one of my favorite things at Wild Earth is getting questions from you. The type of questions that I really like are those ones that really help us to unpack and understand and really integrate the ecological knowledge and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on Wild Earth, you're going to have to register on the website. But once registered, just head on over to the live safari page and enter your question under the live feed.
Guys, have a look at what we've got. This is better than my birthday. Look at that. This is the first time that I ever see cubs this small. This is so special. This has officially just become my best sighting of all times.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature.
Welcome back, everybody. We made space. Aubrey and his guests had a view, and we came back. Still busy feeding if you're just joining us. This is Tingana, the Duke of Chuma, who we found quite early this morning on the move. And he successfully hunted a staker. Which he is now feeding on. And probably every now and again hear the crunching of bones. Very powerful jaw muscles. Matthew, carcasses, when they get killed, don't smell bad. The stomach content has got a bit of a smell to it. If you've ever been to a butcher, the smell of meat, that's pretty much what a fresh carcass smells like. As soon as it starts to sour, however, and the flies start to come to it, it really starts to get a little bit ripe after day one. But after 2, 3, 4 days, obviously temperature is quite important. That's why at butchers and all that, there's always very cold environments. Bacteria grows in certain temperatures, and if you can keep the temperatures very low, things won't actually decompose as quickly. And in the winter months, definitely it takes longer for the meat to turn. In the summer months, where it's very hot, it's already like 30 odd degrees at this time of day. You can imagine the bacteria are immediately on site, and immediately flies are attracted to, and there's a very particular smell that meat gives off. Very particular smell. And the stomach content, the rumen has got a bit of an acidic smell. It's very hard for me to explain what a rumen content smells like, the stomach content, but it's something I've smelt a lot, and it's something that always indicates dead animal. And just before I left here last time, I was busy tracking the Nkuguma Pride, and we found by smell alone the stomach content of whatever it was that they ate, and we were able to then find the lions. So hyena will often track down kills due to the fact that the stomach is smelling and the wind is wafting it away, but it might be getting a bit late in the day for them to do so. But the smell of meat, the smell of blood is definitely one that the predators are familiar with. And if the wind does waft it strongly enough, it will be picked up by the keen senses of a predator. Obviously, each animal's probably got their own smell, their own sort of outward smell on the fur, dirty smell, dusty, whatever it might be. But over time, due to the fact that predators feed on these kills, they do tend to have quite a rank smell themselves. Although they do clean themselves. Hang on 1 second. Standing by. Standing by, Mish.
Steve, how many mobiles you got in that lock?
It's myself at the moment, Mornay making his way.
Okay, copy. Just keep me up. Super fast there in about 20 minutes.
Copy. So even though they will clean themselves, ooh, that looks like a little bit of intestine. See how he is squeezing it? He squeezed the intestine and all the pellets fell out. Small little pellets. I know that might seem really gross to all of you, but if you've ever had sausage in your life, then don't worry about it. If you have, sausages, everybody, are made out of intestines. In case you didn't know. So the nutrients in it, there's iron, there's all sorts of things going on, and leopards, lions they're not looking for the, there we go, he's busy squeezing now. They're not looking for the dung inside or the rumen inside per se. although they do get a lot of that in, a lot of microorganisms and bacteria, gut flora, enzymes will be coming in, but they're looking for the meat of the intestine. And interesting how they go for internal organs first. Many restaurants around the world will serve tripe, which is basically internal organs. I don't always know which ones. I've never been a fan, so I've never delved too much into what it is, but I remember an ex-boyfriend of my mum was a very big fan of that. And not really my cup of tea. Waste not, want not in the animal kingdom. Nanette, he does have gorgeous eyes, doesn't he? Does have very pretty eyes. The Duke of Djuma, everybody. So I think I asked earlier for a one-word tweet when we found Tingana. Now we're with him. He's got a meal. I know many of you have privately messaged me about whether he's okay and if we can give you an update. Here is your update. He is alive and well and strong and fit and feeding. He was moving very quickly this morning. There was no limp, there was no hobble, there was no anything. So I would love from all of you a one-word tweet telling me, how does it make you feel seeing Tingana this morning? Seeing him looking so strong and so fit and so almost in his prime, I'd say. He's looking so good. Hashtag Wild Earth. He's like, come on everybody, give me that one word. Can be a couple words, I don't mind. He doesn't mind. When last were you tweeted about, Tingy? When last did they give a one-word tweet about your beautiful face? Your beautiful eyes? Darren, your first time seeing him? Yeah? Darren's blown away with what he's seen in the last few days. Blown away. Now, Darren's got good eyes. We had alarm calls with the tracks, and Darren was able to see Tingana. So that's the second leopard in 2 days he's spotted, which is good. Fantastic, Andrew. Well, that's a good word. That is a very good word. Fantastic. With a capital F. Full capitals, caps lock. Fantastic. Where are you going, Tinky? Have you eaten enough? He's going to, his belly's looking like he's gorged himself. Looks like he might bury it now. Or is he coughing? I can't really see. Oh, he's just plopped down. He's done what Tingana does best. Amazing, Beverly. Amazing. Darren, it's your one word. Yours. Don't you have a one word? Don't be shy now. He talks some Aerof all morning and now he's shy. I'm only joking. We have actually very good, inspirational, enlightened discussions on the back of the vehicle. Lawrence is phenomenal. Oh, that is a great one. Fantastically, awesomely phenomenal. Ecstatic, Darren says. Ecstatic. Well, Darren's never seen him before, so would you think this is an aged leopard that is out of his prime? You wouldn't think so. He doesn't look at everybody. He doesn't look at, and apart from his localized movements and the lack of him calling, that's all we got to go for. So I think he's taken an early retirement, and he's just said, you know what, I'm going to let the younger boys do what they do, and I'm just going to enjoy Dakers and enjoy hanging about. Okay, well, there's another vehicle coming, and as you can see, the view of this site is not great. So we're probably going to move on. I don't think we're going to get another view of him now unless we move around. But one of the Cheetah Plains vehicles was on the way. I don't know how far away they are. They were on quarantine about half an hour ago. So we're going to make space for them once they're in. And then who knows what else we might find this morning. But once again, we're going to send you over to Trish and see what she's found.
I think that it's a beautiful, beautiful sighting, that one with Tingana. I'm so glad that you managed to see him. It's been a while. We are just moving around Rebecca's Road, having a look around at all the nice plants and watching the way the bush has started to turn to the very familiar dry brown, that golden color I spoke to you about when we had the mongoose. But we're taking it very easy. It was a lovely, lovely morning. Now is the time of day where not too much is happening. It feels that way. It feels quite relaxed. Just seen one of these spider hunting wasps. I wonder if we'll be able to get it. Of course, it's flown away. Let's just watch here for a little bit. The spider hunting wasps have this beautiful iridescent blue. It's really pretty, especially in this full sunlight, when you can see the full effect of that iridescence. They're so quick. You can also hear them because they're quite large wasps. When they beat their wings, you can hear it quite well. I can't hear it anymore. It must have flown off. You can see that in terms of ground cover, it's mostly that dwarf sage that's green. Everything else has truly turned to the usual brown, golden brown. Alright, let's keep moving. Up Rebecca's. You'd like to know if horns and tusks are made out of the same matter. It's interesting how you ask that. In terms of matter, they're all made of atoms, but I know that's not what you mean. Are they made out of the same structural components? No. Tusks are made out of enamel and dentine because they're essentially teeth, modified teeth. So the elephant tusks, even like walrus tusks, are all modified teeth. But horns are not. Horns are a bone with a keratin sheath. So they're made out of different materials. But you use the word matter, which I quite liked, because it reminds me that everything is made out of the same thing. Everything's made out of atoms. Everything is a collection of atoms that have been collected into different elements, and those different elements then into different chemicals, different molecules, different proteins, and that gives us all these different materials that we see around us, different forms of essentially the same thing. I I think that's something that's truly wondrous. I mean, we're all made, everything out here is just a collection of atoms arranged in different ways. For different reasons, different uses, and that's what creates our variety. And when you think about the fact that it all comes down to the same building blocks, the variety is just extraordinary. I haven't driven Rebecca's Road in a while. It was a nice drive. Now those leopard tracks that I've been telling you I've been finding, female leopard tracks, heading south on Zoe's and then going down, taking that path, that game path to Philemon's cut line, going to the dam and then round Shibamo and out again this morning. Hello, Steenbokkie. You are so beautiful. Off it bounds away. They're so quick, those guys. Termite mounds look so lifeless when it's dry like this. It's hard to imagine that in the rainy season when it's nice and wet and there's all this greenery that it's teeming with life. Those alates all over the place. Oh, I love it when they stream out of the vents. It looks so fairy tale-like, especially in the early evening when there's still a bit of light and the light hits their wings and they look like these fairies streaming through the vents. Some of you would like to know how the Bateleur chicks, or the Bateleur nest with the chick is doing. I know Lauren spent a lot of time with them, so you would have gotten to know that nest quite well. I've visited it, not very often, I've visited it about 3 or 4 times. Yeah, in the fire break up by Ledwood Road, it's quite far from where we are at the moment. But I didn't manage to see it. But I was probably there at the wrong time, or so much of being, oh no, I did see it once, where it was quite a difficult shot. When the sun is behind it, it can be, you can basically see nothing because of its position. But so much around here has to do with being at the right place at the right time. Like last night, I think it was a viewer named White Mane asked such a good question, or something that we don't often talk about. just kind of brought it to light is the fact that when we look through our binoculars or if we're just looking at this side of the road, when something's happening on this side of the road, we can miss so much, but that's why it's so special when we do find something, because obviously we were there at the right place at the right time in the general area looking at the right spot. And it's special when you think about all the things that have to come together for us to find that animal, especially when it's sightings where there's no sound, there's no clue that's brought you here. It's just that good fortune, good luck that's brought you to that spot. I remember the one time we were looking at the owls, the spotted eagle owls in the Milwaukee. And we were busy chatting away, looking at the spotted eagle owls, and then they were live for a little bit, then we went off air, but we're still sitting with them because they're such beautiful creatures. We thought we'd do another segment there. And I'm looking towards the owls, and off the corner of my eye I see something, and it's Tandy. I didn't hear a thing. She just came walking across the front of the car. But we were so focused on watching the spotted eagle owls onto our right that we didn't see her approach. She actually walked into our field of view. And she had Mareebs with her too, so that was very cool because he was quite small at that time. He was probably only about 3 or 4 months. Those make you feel really good because it's as if you really are exactly where you need to be. Right place, right time. We're still taking it easy, as you can see, nice and relaxed. Steve is also on a bumble, but he's had a bit more of an exciting morning. Why don't you go over and chat to him?
Indeed. Well, we have had a very exciting morning. We've saved on the fuel today. Yesterday I seemed to drive around quite a lot. And it's like that, everybody. You have a quiet drive and then you have an amazing drive. And you have a quiet drive and you have an amazing drive. And you never know what the bush might show you. And it's why it's so important to be able to know how to track. Because if I didn't see those male leopard tracks, well, we wouldn't have really put 2 and 2 together and found him. So having an idea of tracking and a direction, you might not be able to be a very good tracker, but just an idea of the direction, where they're going. If you've got tracks heading in a direction, you can drive around and you might have better luck than just bumbling. So obviously we bumble with the intention of finding tracks, and when we do, we can follow. I get very excited when I follow tracks and find, and well, we thought we might just stop here at a watering hole and have a look at some male impala on the other side there that are also just taking it really, really easy. This is Treehouse watering hole, and the water's looking very good, almost good enough for a swim. Darren, what do you reckon?
I wouldn't mind.
Wouldn't mind. Impalas have really calmed down, everybody. I'm really surprised because the full moon is only on its way still. Maybe they don't read the books like everybody else does, or maybe my thoughts that all the impala making all the noise have been eaten. And all the impala that are hanging around are like, well, Fred made a lot of noise and look what happened to him. Something over here. I think there's a monitor lizard about to emerge out of the bushes. Oh no, that's a Franklin. It's a spurfowl, in fact. Hello. Hi. Hello, Natal spurfowl. Some people call natal spurfowl. but spelt Natal. Natal is spelt exactly the same, so whatever you prefer, I really don't mind. Little noises in the leaf litter. Their ability to scratch around in these little leafy patches is what enables them to feed out in these dry times when a lot of the other birds would have had to migrate. So the Natal spurfowl is easily identified with the orange legs, the orange beak, versus the crested francolin, which has got a black beak and a white eye stripe, which is very easy to identify. The Swanson's spurfowl is a little bit bigger. It's got a very red face, so probably easily identify them. The Koki francolins and Shelly francolins, which, although not as easily observed out here, Koki's got a very different coloured head. And the Shelleys I've only seen once, although I've heard them a few times. Okay, well, we're going to go back around a little bit and have another view of the dam from that side. Amazing how much noise they make. I honestly thought there was something bigger was about to emerge out of the bushes. That's the leaves, the leaves, and it's why many of our animals, predators, like to use the roads, because you can hear how much noise can be made by a bird moving through leaf litter. Can imagine a leopard trying to stalk. Definitely not that stealthy walking on leaves. Okay, so we're just going to park up here in the shade for a moment and just allow you to all absorb the morning we've just had. Kendra, we've had cheetahs in Djuma. I've had them a handful of times. They don't stick around for very long. We've had them on Sani Patch quarantine. We've had them cheetah cutline. A lot of they do occur up in the northern reaches of Torchwood into Buffelshoek. They like the more open landscape where there's less trees, and there's a lot more of that into the Kruger. There with Buffelshoek and Torchwood, there's much more open areas, and so by going through there, it's always an opportunity to see them. I've seen cheetah up on Torchwood, but it is habitat preference. You go look for areas that are much more open, but you never know, you could bump into one at any stage.
If you love to watch Wild Earth, then we are inviting you to join our Explorers program. For a monthly subscription, you will have the opportunity to win fantastic Wild Earth expeditions, join our guides for a chat around the fire, receive weekly highlights from our shows, and much more. All the money will go to keeping these live safaris on air, which in turn allows us to escape into nature every single day.
And I find getting out to a local royal park brings me so much closer to nature. I can leave my pain at home. And like watching Wild Earth, I find it's the most amazing way to step out of life's difficulties and just breathe.
The chirping and fluttering of these Java finches at the feeder in our garden helps us start each day joyfully in connection with nature.
So this is our piece of nature that we've been enjoying and has been keeping us sane during lockdown. This morning we have 8 oyster catchers on our beach, which is a real treat.
Hug a tree, Steve, just for you.
Hi everyone, my name's Daniel Fisher and I'm going to be your guide this afternoon. I'm looking really forward to taking you through and showing you all the beautiful places here at and beyond Ngala. If you have any questions, please register on our website. Once registered, go to the live page feed and post your questions underneath the live feed. Join me on my next safari through and beyond Ngala on Wild Earth. Send me live questions through the Wild Earth website and I'll answer them live from the African bush.
Look at this, the little one is up and about. Certainly hasn't had enough milk at this age. No amount of milk is enough. Oh, Corky. Too sweet. Oh, look at this. That is stunning.
Tune into Wild Earth every single day. It's in your nature.
There's some lovely antelope chilling together here on the western side of quarantine. The wildebeest and the impala quite tightly together also. Perhaps there's a nice bit of vegetation. Again, it's one of these kind of islands that have been carved out here in quarantine where there's lots of vegetation in one spot. So maybe there's something particularly tasty on this island. They also look really peaceful, just gnawing on all of these trees. Nice combretums that are still a little bit green here on this side. Birchill starlings calling. Oh, it's just so peaceful. I love it when the bush is like this. I also love it when there's lots of action. But this kind of thing also has its own charm. I enjoy when we watch antelope grazing together, or feeding together rather, because they're hardly ever in direct competition. Hi Jacqueline, you'd like to know how do grazers get nourishment from dry grass? That's an excellent question. So grazers, especially bulk grazers, they get their nutrients by just consuming in bulk, non-discriminately, just eating and eating and eating. And if you use that principle, you're going to get enough nutrients. But also you'll find that grazers, if things are really, really bad, they will consume some, engage in a bit of browsing. So it gives them some leeway instead of being just only sticking to grazing. But if there is grass around, even if it's dry like this, they will be consuming it quite happily. Now the way that naturally it would work for them is that they move with the rain, or they move where there's resources, and that's why you get migrations. Migrations happen because there's a lack of resource in one spot, so they have to move to the next, and before you know it, they've covered hundreds of kilometers. But they will continually move, and though the majority of the areas would have very dry grass in a time of drought, say, but there's still some spots where there will be some grass with some nutrients, at least, and they'll keep moving to those areas. Remember that even grass that is dry still holds some nutrients, especially down towards the roots. They tend to be a lot juicier. So just keep eating. For them, the main thing is to just eat as much as possible. If it's possible, then you get something out of it. Now if you can see, there's a drongo that's perched itself there, benefiting from all the movement through the grass from the antelope. As they rustle through, they'll be... Oh, look at that. Is that beautiful? As they move through, they're kicking up dirt and shuffling in actual grass. Anything in there that the drongo would like flying insects, those would come out for feast. You'll find birds that eat insects will follow herbivores as they move through the grass. If you look at the wildebeest as they're feeding now, their mouths are quite close to the ground. Look at that. Where the grass will still have majority of its nutrients, even if it's dry. Because remember, grasses grow from the bottom outward, kind of like your hair. Your hair grows at the base, at the follicle that's in your scalp, and it grows outward. And the dead, dry bits are at the end of your long hair. Similarly in grass, so it's eating the bits that are still active, still juicy. I love the colors of wildebeest. The females are just a tad browner, just a slight shade. You'll only really notice it when you see them often and you see them together in a herd that's mixed, and then you'll be able to tell. And that's a beautiful color, but especially the males, which are this gunmetal kind of gray. They're beautiful stripes in their long tails. Lovely hair. The impala too. I don't want to say underappreciated because we love them, but we don't pay as much attention to them because they're so numerous. But also really stunning antelope. They're all seeking out bits of shade now. There's a male impala ram just behind these females. That's a nice bit of shade. I don't know if we can see him. There he is. By the way, I saw the one-eyed impala again last night. It was nice to see him. He's doing well. Maybe this evening we'll find him again. He's hanging around Sandy Patch. Oh, they all look so happy. Whatever that looks like for an antelope, but in my opinion they look very happy. You can see that there's some wildebeest on this edge there that have also found some shade now that the sun is really, really bright and quite intense. So this impala ram is, obviously this is his little territory that he's got here with these females in it. But it looks like he's losing condition a little bit, as they do during the rut. Looks like he's going to walk into shot there. There he comes. He's not as bulky. And they kind of look a little bit as if they've lost fat in their face, so it looks a little bit more bony when they start to lose condition. But now he doesn't want to show us his face. But I must say that mostly the sounds of the rut have subsided substantially. Still occasionally here and there, but not as it was a few weeks ago. Just so peaceful, so relaxed, and a great way to end what was a wonderful drive with all of you. It's that time, and we'll say goodbye and thank you for your questions and your comments, and of course for watching us. We'll see you this afternoon for Sunset Safari, and goodbye for now.